Okay, today we're going to talk about long division with and without remainders. And I'm going to break it down as much as I can, step by step. All right? So I'm going to lead you every step of the way. So here's the first problem we're going to do. The first problem is 48 divided by 2. Okay? So I'm going to break it down step by step. So the first step is to divide. So I am going to go ahead and ask myself, 2 times what gives me 4? Now, some of us are not realizing that we need to write the number that is being multiplied by up here. So 2 times something equals 4, or as close to 4 as possible. So it's going to be 2 times 2. All right, and that gives us 4. We write the number that this equals right here underneath. Then we go ahead and subtract it. 4 take away 4 is 0. Then we bring it down, bring down the next number. We have an 8, and then we repeat the process. 2 times what equals 8? 2 times 4, we write the 4 up here. We write it up here. It's what this times this equals this, or as close to that as possible. Then we write down what this times this equals, so 2 times 4, what this times this equals 2 times 4. We write it here and we subtract. And here, in this case, we end up with 0. So we don't have a remainder here. And 24 is our answer. I'm going to walk through that again. So we want to see what is going to equal 4. 2 times what equals 4, or as close as possible? 2 times 2. I write down what I multiply by this right here. Okay, so the 4 goes here, then I subtract. Then I have 0. Then I'm going to bring down that 8. 2 times this number, 4, gives me 8. So then I'm going to subtract 8 and I get 0. Okay, this next one, I'm going to pause after every step and you're going to fill it in. And then you're going to check your work. Okay? And I want you to pay attention to where your strengths are in this. So what you're doing really well at with this and what you might still need some help with. Okay, so this one is going to be 3 and 78. So 78 divided by 3. So first step. 3 times what gives me 7, or as close to 7 as possible? Go ahead and write it down. Okay, 3 times what gives me 7, or as close to 7 as possible? Well, nothing times 3 equals 7 exactly, but 3 times 2 gives me 6, which is as close as possible, okay? So I have that. I did go ahead and write it there. What is my next step? I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 1. Go ahead and do the next step. I'm going to bring down 18, or the 8, and make 18. Go ahead and do the next step. Okay, so 3 times something gives me 18. In this case, 3 times something just gives us 18. Go ahead and write it down. It is a 6. 3 times 6 is 18. I'm going to subtract, and I get 0. We do not have a remainder here. Okay? So this next one, I'm not going to stop after every step. I do want you to try this one on your own. But I do have the other two examples right here, and you should have your slider with you so that you can see the steps. So all the examples are here, and there's one right there. Go ahead and see what you can do with that one on your own. All right. So I'm going to ask myself 4 times what gives me 9. I can't do anything that gets me 9 exactly, but 4 times 2 does give me 8. I'm going to write the answer to 4 times 2 underneath my 9. Then I'm going to subtract, and I have 1 left over. Then I am going to bring down my 6, and I'm going to get 16. Then I'm concerned about 4 times what equals 16. Well, in this case, there is an exact number, 4. I'm going to write that 16 that I get when I multiply 4 times 4. I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 0. And I'm going to have 24 as my final answer. Okay? All right. That is it without remainders. So now I'm scooting on, and I am going to do some with remainders. So this one I'm going to walk you through completely. And then I'll walk you through step by step on a couple of other ones. And then I'll have you try one on your own. So 87 divided by 2. I'm going to walk you through this one. So 2 times what is going to give me 8, or as close to 8 as possible. Luckily, there is something that will give me exactly 8. It's 4. 2 times 4, I'm going to write the answer to that under here. It's 8. Then I'm going to subtract. I get 0. Next, I'm going to bring down the 7. 2 times what gives me 7, or as close to 7 as possible. Now, this is where it starts to be a little bit different. Nothing gives me 7 exactly when I multiply by 2. So 2 times 3, though, gets me as close as possible. So I'm going to write the answer to 2 times 3. So 2 times 3, the answer is going to go right here. That's 6. Then I'm going to subtract like I do, and I get 1. There's nothing else to bring down, so I cannot repeat. I have a remainder of 1. So what I did was I asked myself, does 2 times anything give me 8? 2 times 4 does, so I went ahead and I subtracted that 8. I had 0. I brought down my 7. 2 times something gives me 7. That's not true, so I have 2 times 3 gives me 6. I subtract that. There's nothing to bring down, so that I can't repeat. I have a remainder of 1. All right, so this one I'm leaving the example right here, and I'm going to lead you through step by step on this one. 58 divided by 3. All right, first step, 3 times what gives me 5, or as close to 5 as possible. 3 times 1. And what am I going to do next? Yes, I'm going to put the answer to 3 times 1 right here, 3, and then I'm going to subtract, and I'm going to get 2. Go ahead and show me the next step. That's right, bring down the 8. Now I have to come up with 3 times what gives me 8, or as close as, 28, or as close as possible as 28. Now, some of us are struggling a little bit here. This is where knowing your facts really comes in handy. Those basic facts are so important to this. So, see if you can figure out what 3 times what gives us as close to 28 as possible. All right, so I can't get 28, but I can get 27. 3 times 9. If you couldn't get that, then you do need to do some practice on your facts. 27. If I tuck in that third finger, I get 27. Where am I going to put that 27? I'm going to put that 27 right here. And then I'm going to subtract, and I have 1 left over. There's nothing to bring down, and there's nothing to repeat. What do I do with this 1? That's right. It is a remainder of 1. All right, this next one, I am going to walk you through it just because it does have something a little funky in it. 72 divided by 7. So this one looks really easy at the forefront. 7 times what gives me 7? Well, 7 times 1. Subtract 7. I have 0. Bring down my 2. Uh-oh. I can't do 7 times anything and get 2. Even 7 times 1 is too big. But I can do 7 times 0. Okay? If this number is smaller than this number, then it's this number times 0. That's all you can do. You're going to subtract 0. You have 2 left over. There's nothing more to bring down. There's nothing to repeat. You get a remainder of 2. Okay? So if this number here is larger than the number here or the number here, it's a 0. And you go ahead and just do multiply times 0 because you can't do anything else. All right? I do want you to try one more problem on your own, 100% by yourself. Try this one. All right, 4 times what gives me 9, or as close to 9 as possible? I can do 2. I'm going to put my 8 here, and I'm going to subtract that because 4 times 2 is 8. I have 1. I'm going to bring down the 7. 4 times what gets me as close to 17 as possible? I can do 4 times 4 is 16. I'm going to put that 16 here, and I'm going to subtract. 17 take away 16 is 1. There's nothing more to bring down, and there's nothing more for repeating. So it's 24, remainder 1. Okay, I've shown you some more that you can do, some more practice. We've broken it down. Just keep thinking positive. You are very capable. You've got this.